The decline in moral values among youths is a pressing concern that has far-reaching implications for their well-being, relationships, and future success. It is essential to acknowledge the shift in moral values and its profound impact on young people, from increased stress and anxiety to decreased empathy and compassion. The effects of this decline are multifaceted and alarming. Today we will take a look at the ways in which the decline in moral values is affecting youths, exploring the causes, consequences, and potential solutions to these critical issues. And we can only do that by examining the moral landscape of our young people to create a supportive environment that fosters character, compassion, and responsibility and set them up for a brighter and successful future. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us on another interesting episode of Youth Connect on Trust TV. I am FATIMA Ahmed Musa. Joining me in the studio is IBRAHIM Ismail Umar. He is a social activist and a politician, I beg your pardon. Thank you so much, IBRAHIM, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And Sunday Joseph is a storyteller and a public commentator. Thank you so much, Sunday, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Fatima. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's go on a quick break, and when we return, the program will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back, and if you're just joining, this is Youth Connect coming to you from our studios here in Abuja. Thank you so much, IBRAHIM, once again for joining.
Thank you once again.
So what do you think are the most important values that are missing in today's society?
Well, in my perspective, I can see that we are missing a lot of values these days. And I think we need to go back and look at what causes the values that we are missing, I think. Because right now, we doesn't respect our values and morals anymore. The youth prefer to look to be inspired and be looking at other people that are far away from our culture and our values. So I think the one of the causes of this decline in moral values, it has to do with, I think, effects of Western influence in this, the effects of Western influence on us. Mass media play a role because we are exposed to a wide and vast, numerous cultures, and we got inspired by cultures that has a negative effect to our moral values. So to me, it has a devastating consequence on us. Its repercussion has a negative effect on the country as a whole.
Sunday, how do you think we can, promote empathy and compassion in our online interactions? A couple of weeks, or should I say, for the most of the week just last week till this time, you could see that there's a story of a lady that has been going viral, that she came out to talk about, the 20 million naira thing and what have you, and that's what's been going back and forth. That kind of interaction can actually point fingers at her morals and values and the upbringing from her own family's background. So what do you think we can do to promote empathy and compassion, especially with the interactions that we do online?
All right. So I think for me, what we're doing, is part of, the things I would suggest that we should be doing, bringing a conversation that borders around, kind of seeing how we can be able to promote or improve on to fight the management of the reality on ground. You rightly mentioned the case. I wanted to make a scenario or make a case of Saida, I think Saida or something like that, that young lady that made that statement on a podcast that has been trending within this day. So I would say that if we really want to, kind of avoid these things in the future, I'm happy that our social media page on TikTok, I think even Instagram, were actually, blocked. These are kind of the things that should be done. If we see somebody, kind of coming up to promote something that is inappropriate in our society and that will end up, implicating the future generation, I think it's better we speak up. And if there's any possible way that we can be able, to contribute our culture to say that we fight against that, we should not relent in doing that. Look at the case of Bob Risky. you know. I think that fight, to bring about this is my personal opinion, to stop that kind of people, in a society, getting that kind of audience to speak on a national television, to express such kind of, opinion, you know. There's a freedom to all of these things, but I believe that if we can be able to contribute our part to see that we do not give audience, or we do not actually give space for those people to just keep on, ruining our future generation, is the best thing to do. What we should do is to be bringing about conversation that borders around such issues. This is, which is what we're doing now. And government, I think government has perhaps also a role to play in this. Government should make sure that, they sponsor, media houses are doing their best, but government needs to step in through sponsoring programs, national orientation agency, doing some of these things, not talking about issues that will come and tackle this problem, through doing that, we to curtail this menace and to be able to say we might actually not stop it, instantly. We cannot just say we give a stop to all of these things, but if we can be able, to do some things that will actually curtail it or bring down cases, I think that will go a long way in trying to see we have a better future.
All right. Do you think social media has also played a role in the decline, in values and morals when it comes to young people? Because you can see what is being posted on social media by the young people these days. So do you think social media has also played a role?
100%. I said earlier that social media, mass media plays a role in the decline in moral values that we have. And we have one form of idolatry, which is worshipping money. This form of idolatry happens because of the high cost of living and high competitive life. So I think these two plays a vital role. Social media, for example, now I can see the cultures of the people in far eastern part of the world and far western part of the world, and got inspired by what I picked, what I choose to follow. These values are not always positive, although there are positive values that we need to get inspired from. So my take on that is that we need to diversify who we learn from and know who we learn from. As a matter of a personal principle, if we learn from a negative person, you will become negative. Well, if you learn from the positive person, you will become positive. I understand that most of us, especially those of my age, we mostly got inspired by the West. And as I said earlier, we need to diversify who we learn from. Learn from everyone who has anything to teach. Pick the right one, the positive one, and adopted them, and leave the negative ones.
I mean, if you look at, how we even greet in the South, West, and the North, you could see that there is difference from how we greet our elders. These days you can see that children will just stand and say hi to their mothers and fathers, but there were times that we used to kneel down. The Yorubas would do the dobale to greet their parents and all that. Do you think we should teach our children or the young people to understand that there is need to respect, because that shows the moral and the values that your family has also instilled on you?
Yeah, sure. I like the way you put it, because that's discipline. The way we greet our elders, the way we respect our elders, the way we look up to them before, that's discipline. And what people doesn't understand is that discipline is one of the greatest norms of self-love. It's basically ignoring what will harm you for your own good, and portraying your own values in such a way that it can inspire another person.
Okay, so Sunday, thank you so much for coming back again.
Thank you. My apologies, there was a breakage in the network. Sorry.
Yeah, so we actually see, a lot of youths compromising their morals and values, on social media, when you see them, with the get-rich syndrome, and they want to just, something that their parents didn't teach them, and you see them going for it. How do you think social media, again, just like I asked Ibrahim earlier, played a vital role in, decline in moral values, especially with young people?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. So I think in this area, the influence that social media has in, in the decline of our, moral values and culture, in that terms, I would say. So let's talk about modesty and humility. Talking about modesty, if you look at, the number of, or the alarming cases of what we have in presently, you see a young lady, kind of, indecent dressing. There's no modesty. You see them doing all sort of things, things that you wouldn't want to do up or one day come and, be told that this is what you used to do. It's not as if we're doing it out of our senses. Some of us are just being ignorant of the reality. So I will tell you that social media have, impacted so much, in the area of the decline, in the area of our moral values, especially in regards to the area of indecent dressing. Just like you rightly pointed out, get rich. You will see somebody posting a lot of things online of which you are not sure whether or not it is true that that person really is the right owner of all that he has been kind of flaunting or showcasing on social media. And then you wake up one day, all the kind of discipline we grow up of hard work, I believe that hard work is part of kind of the moral, values we grew up to have. You do everything possible to, acquire things through hard work, through dedication. But you seeing your, kind of peer group, your friend or somebody that flaunting things on social media, spending money recklessly, doing all sort of things, and you just wake up one day to say, okay, you too, you just want to fit into that shoe, you just want to do the same thing, and then you end up, imbibing into all this kind of, scam activities, all of this Yahoo boys and all of that. So I think all of these things that we normally see them on social media, down here in the north, I will tell you that even as we speak now, I cannot say that it's actually our youth have actually keyed into that fully. But then I will tell you that we just grew up seeing it in the social media. You see somebody at your age or somebody that is even, kind of younger than your age doing things, buying cars, building homes. You will see that I've donated my mom a house at the age of 18. And you that you are 25 or 30 or 35, you feel like, okay, you're a failure. The fact that you could not build your own house or you cannot, donate or give your mother or your brother or sister something worth that amount, you feel like you're a failure. And anything that comes in your way, whether it's legal or illegal, you just feel like you're ready to breathe. So I think social media have, immensely or so much impacted or so much, influenced so many young people, especially the youth, kind of to compromise, the moral
All
values
right, Sanjay,
that
let
we
me
that we
ask.
used to have
Let me
in the
also
past.
ask Ibrahim this question. So, Ibrahim, have you ever, felt pressure to also compromise your own values? Just you heard what Sunday said. He never had some such situation before. But have you ever?
Personally, no. But I had an experience about some people that I am close to. They had this kind of pressure on them.
And they are young people as well.
They are young, most of them. I had a discussion with a girl, I think last week. She was telling me about indecent dressing. She was a kind of woman that were always decent, and I was appreciating her. She told me that she feel that she needs to be decent for herself, not for the people that are seeing her, not to serve as a decoration for the people passing. But she always have this pressure on her that people will just be, even when she go to church, they will be taunting her, Virgin Mary, calling her names, so that maybe she will feel intimidated and change her lifestyle.
Way she dresses.
Yeah, not only social media, the society as a whole are putting that pressure on the people. And as my colleague said, all this get rich syndrome, young people are seeing all this fake life on social media. You see people posting fake things, and you feel pressure that I have to, because my age exceeds the age of the person that is posting all that kind of stuff. But on a personal level, I never feel that pressure, because I know where I want to be, and I am sure.
But you are a young politician, so if you're working with older politicians, don't you think you'll be pressured to compromise certain things just to fit into, the political shoes that you are?
Sure. It's natural for a young man like me to got inspired from elders and the people above me, especially in a political space whereby you see people that spend 50, 30 years in the cycle. So you need to learn from them. But I have never felt that pressure of compromising my ideals, my moral values because of politics. I never feel that pressure, because I am plain and clear to anybody that I come across. That's who I am, and I'll stick to my ideals.
Okay, so let's go on a short break, and when we return, this discussion will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is Youth Connect coming to you from our studios here in Abuja. Ibrahim, I would like to ask you this question. What do you think, is the role that family and community can play in shaping our moral values today? Because,
yes,
they said bringing up a child is not just for the parents, it's a community effort. So what do you think community and families can do to reshape, or should I say shaping our moral values that is missing?
Yeah, they say charity begins at home. So first and foremost, we need to start with the family first. Society is based on a delicate network of human relationship, and family is the key. A good family is a key to every successful society. So we need to start from the family. We need to start impacting the positive morals on our children and making sure that they are disciplined to the point that they will hardly learn from foreigners, from aliens. And I think the most important key to that is going back to our moral values, learning from them, getting inspired from them, domesticating them. And we Africans, sadly, we forget about our morals, we forget about our value system, the traditions and everything. We're adopting alien tradition and alien culture. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board. Okay,
Sunday, what do you think, families and communities can do in this situation to just, maybe take us back to what we are lacking, especially when it comes to our traditions and cultural values?
All right. So I think on this aspect, in the first century parenting, I would say is also, adding up the issue we're talking about. We used to have, a kind of a discipline that we say a child does not belong to his own immediate family. When you do something wrong, be it at home or on the street, when an elderly person see what you do, can actually discipline you. It doesn't necessarily be part of your family or know your parents. As far as what you do is wrong, that person will actually caution you in any way. But we are at a time that even at school or at home, when your child did something wrong, and if somebody corrects him or maybe carry a thing and just discipline your child, you just feel like that person is trying to kind of show a hatred towards your child to an extent that you say, this is my child, so you don't have to interfere. When elders are talking, you don't just get across or sit near them and all of that. This is where, the kind of conversation that ordinarily as a young or as a child or as a young person, you don't have to, get access to this kind of conversation. And then you end up, some of these things is not actually outside. These parents will end up having that kind of conversation where their children are. And we're in the time that, parents does not even have time for their children. You say, I'm working, I'm busy with work, I don't have time. You leave everything to the mother all by herself, kind of discipline the child. A child will not be at home from morning to evening. Your child will go out, that he went to a church or a mosque, maybe went for a program. You don't mind to, kind of follow thoroughly and find out whether or not that, child is actually doing what he's supposed to do. So I would say that in first century parenting is also, to be blamed the kind of things we are seeing today. So I think if family, if parents, and and community can actually come together and bring back that kind of the kind of discipline or the kind of morals we used to have. That when you do something bad, you don't need to give that kind of pampering. Everybody should blame you, and those kind of things that we used to do: humility, respect for elders, respect for tradition, modesty. All of these things to kind of be put into consideration. Yeah. We don't have to be living things for no, it's not my child, because at the end of the day, if that thing escalates, or if that person continues to keep on doing that same thing he's been doing, at the end of the day, you might influence your own child. You might influence the entire community, which at the end of the day will have the full effect that you might not be able to control afterwards. Okay. So I think we should be deliberate. Parents should be deliberate. The community or the society should be deliberate in bringing up these things and, going back
I
to the
mean,
old
I
system.
agree with
It's
you
just
that
like I said, old
parents
system.
should
Some
be
people will feel
deliberate.
like this is something that we used to do in the past. But
Yeah.
I think we really need it at the moment.
Okay, I agree with you on that. But then, Ibrahim, the social media thing, I will still come back to you. They said the internet doesn't forget. So, when you see the kind of content the young people tend to post out there, they are forgetting that this has a lot to do with their morals and, like I said earlier, how they will say their family background and all that. But then how do we make them understand that whatever they put out there, it doesn't affect them alone. It will also fall back to their parental upbringing. They should remember that their parents will be pointed at and, their community as well, because it will say, they will point fingers and say, oh, he's from this place or she's from that place. So how do we make them understand that it's very important for them to know the kind of content they post out there, so it doesn't fall back to their family or their parents as well?
Okay, I always tell myself this thing. Whenever I was on a television like this, I tell myself I'm representing my religion, my family, my tribe, and I can't let these people down. So this is the kind of thing we need to be reminding ourselves. And as you said, internet never forget. So the negative effect is not only on you or the community, but it has an everlasting effect on your reputation. You might become a changed person, a born again, but that thing will forever haunt you. That's the thing we need to be remembering ourselves always before doing anything on social media. Because some people are doing it for followership. You need to have followers on social media. You need to be controversial before getting followers. So they will do all it takes to get these followers. But the followers are not forever. You grow and become responsible.
They'll get tired
person.
at the time.
Yeah, and they'll get tired at the time. And leadership is about purpose. So the purpose you stand for is what people will identify you as. So once you stand for a purpose that is always negative, you become as a negative person, which is sometimes you grow to be responsible, and people will be bringing your past to you. I think that's what we need to do.
I mean, I totally agree with you. We are the leaders, so we should be able to know what we post out there.
Sure.
Sunday, so in your own words, let's say in a minute or two, how do you think we can create a culture of kindness and respect amongst young people?
All right. So I think to do that, the young people should know and understand their purpose. When somebody does not have a destination, you cannot actually tell that person that what is going to, move ahead is going to be dangerous for him, because he doesn't mind what will happen. But once we have focus, we have a target, that will actually help us to be able to avoid things that would distract us from getting to our destination. So I will say, for the young people out there, that are into this kind of, things we've mentioned, I'm happy that my brother made mention of things that you should avoid, or what you do will actually have an effect on your family, your community, your religion, because most of the things we're doing now, where some people are tagging it to religion, I did it, and with the sad reality is now it's happening everywhere, which is why we have to stand up and then, make a wake up call at the moment.
All right.
So I think we've seen a scenario where, for a lot of politicians, we have so many cases now that we can make mention of, where some people's action in the past is now haunting them. And this is exactly what we're saying, that social media doesn't forget. So I just want to say that as a young person, or as a youth, you should put a focus, and you should be determined towards getting into your destination. And by doing that, you can be able to avoid some of the things that you're doing, or you'll be mindful of the
All right.
things you will do.
All right. Thank you so
Or
much,
what you
Sandy,
say.
for your
So
input
that
on
not come
this.
back and hold you in the future.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sunday. Thank you for your input.
Thank you so much, Fatima. It's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you for the opportunity, and extend my regard for the people, the crew over there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you so much, Ibrahim Umar,
Thank
for
you,
joining us.
Fatima.
Thank you. All right, so this is where we come to the end of this episode. But another episode, we'll have to bring parents, to talk about this topic and hear from them what they think about the decline in moral values and how we can bring some certain things back. I remain Fatima Ahmed Musa. Do join us again next week for another interesting episode on Youth Connect. Bye for now.